Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about this Snowden guy. He's like such a big controversial figure now that he defected. I don't know which you want to call it that. But, you know, I really want to emphasize on some of it's the garbage you're getting out of the political world, basically, like somebody like Senator Graham, Lindsey Graham. He says that the U.S. should chase Snowden to the ends of the earth. I'm like, man, you got more leaks in the government than this guy's actually freaking doing. The only thing actually he leaked is how to spy on Americans. He didn't give out any military secrets or anything like that. And I'll guarantee you, if you get down into the nitty gritty of what's going on in the contractors that actually make the stuff for the American military, there's all kinds of exchange through from the United States to China or anybody else by just ways of commercial aspects, because they're always looking to have a new customer to sell to, so they will sell to the enemy, man. They don't give a shit. This guy Snowden didn't do that much. Now it's like anytime there's a problem with any terrorist anywhere, they're going to blame it on this guy. This guy Lindsey Graham, man, I wonder who the hell voted for this guy. I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. I'm beginning to think I used to be more Republican. But now, every time I come up with these Republicans like McCain, and a freaking other bad one, Lindsey Graham guy's a freaking fascist to the max. He's the one that wanted to take that Boston bomber and try him as an enemy combatant or something like that. In other words, he could put him up to a kangaroo court, and if anybody else actually did this stuff, they just blame this guy and wash it under the rug, right? But basically, all these politicians calling for this, Snowden's death and all this type of stuff, basically it's a good cover-up for their basic shortcomings. I could be a little bit of a, well, let me throw like another curveball out there. With 911, they talked about, the failure of NORAD and all this stuff. Somebody told NORAD to stand down. The failure of, our, the policies against, terrorism and how we failed. So we had to come up with all these new rules. And all the engineers had said those buildings couldn't have came down just from a couple planes. Well, I'll tell you this. Say they did. They ought to be looking into who freaking built the damn buildings, who engineered them, who planned them, because that means you could take pretty much any conventional bomb that isn't even that strong and knock down a skyscraper in New York. So somebody can go in there with maybe, it's not true though. Those buildings are built like to withstand anything. It was probably, I don't know what the hell brought that building down. It was a lot of stuff. But they use this kind of, now they're going to use Snowden like anything that happens in the future. Oh, it's Snowden's fault. Let's make more rules. So, I don't know, anybody in the future that defects, they ought to be shrewder than this guy Snowden, because you don't want to go to the enemy, man. You want to go to somebody inside the United States that's 100% against this kind of crap and that, wants to uphold the Bill of Rights. That's what you really got to do. It's like you don't want to go to China or some shit. See, the guy's all right. I mean, I don't think Snowden's a bad guy. I think he's really stuck his neck out here. But, I tell anybody in the future that wants to, blow the whistle on the government, don't go to a foreign power. Go to somebody else in the United States that realizes the government's doing something bad and wants to uphold the Bill of Rights for the American people. And stick with those kind of people. Don't go to no foreigners, man. I would tell you, but if you want to blow the whistle, fucking go right ahead. But maybe the best way to do it is you got to be really shrewd and not let them know that you blew the whistle too. Just let the information leak to someplace, Maybe get yourself some change for it or something. Like if you leaked it to the New York Times, and somebody in the New York Times had a very good conscience about, what they're doing in the United States is they're turning into Nazi fascism and stuff, and you leak some information to them. Maybe you get paid for that shit too, right? So you get paid at the same time, keep your job, and do the right thing too, all at once. I think that would be the way to do it. But this Lindsey Graham, man, this guy is a joke and a half, man. I don't like to. I'm just wondering how these people voted for him. But if you go back some time, see about 13 years or so, to the Clinton times, the one thing that used to get me, see, this guy I think did do some stuff that was basically anti-American, because after they had the Tiananmen Square massacre in China decades ago, basically there was a lot of restrictions put on technological exports to China that would prevent them from getting better military hardware or missile technology or anything like that. Well, you know what happened back that time. Basically, I don't want to get into politics here, but the Republicans are weasels too, man, believe me. I think they're both weasels, but in this case, it was the Democratic Party. Not that they're the bad guys and Republicans are the good guys, they're both the bad guys, but the Democratic Party needed a quick infusion of cash to pay for campaign ads. So basically what Clinton does, he got some campaign contributions from some big money in the United States that were actually wanting to do some sales to China with some missile technology to basically help their satellite program and all this type of stuff. Well, to me, that was more damaging to the national security than what Snowden has done today. But, it's been washed under the rug all the way. So, and Lindsey Graham, he ain't going to go after that because basically Republicans and Democrats, like you say, Bush and Clinton, they're freaking buddies. That's bullshit. They're all in the racket, man. It's like an intramural competition when they go for the presidency or something like that. They're all in the racket. The only ones that are getting screwed over is the American people. So I'd say the next time there's any whistleblower out there, if they ever see this video, but the shrewd thing to do with a whistleblower is, me, if I was Snowden, I wouldn't go to China. Why would I think those fuckers are better than the United States? I'm not talking about the Chinese people. I'm talking about the ones that run it, man. The ones that run the Lao guy and all that kind of crap in the camps. And they spy on everybody over there in freaking China, man. And they restrict the internet usage. So I wouldn't go run to them and tell them, the United States is doing this and that. I wouldn't tell them that. I wouldn't tell Russia either. I definitely wouldn't tell Iran. So, if I was going to do something like that, I'd probably go to the New York Times or something like that. And believe me, even though a liberal rag like that, they don't like it when, Americans get spied on. And maybe get paid some money for it, too, at the same time. That's the way I do it. Actually, you really got to get Americans together and stick together that are for the Bill of Rights. And I'd be sticking with the military that was against this kind of Nazi encroachment of our Bill of Rights. They're screwing up our Bill of Rights. So I consider it basically like an internal thing, man. I'd stick with the U.S. If I blew the whistle on some garbage going on in the U.S., it wouldn't be against the U.S. It'd be against the freaking elements in the U.S. that are screwing the shit up. Because I'm 100% pro-U.S. So, I guess Snowden, I don't know, he's all right, though. But, see, the way I look at it, I look at Snowden and I look at Bill Clinton or something. And actually, I don't know, Bill Clinton isn't, too terrible, actually. But I look at Snowden, he did it and sacrificed a lot of personal gain to get the word out, right? In the case of Bill Clinton, basically, with this guy, he let this missile technology go to China so he can get reelected so he have more campaign contributions to help the advertising department, Elect me, I want to be elected. So, I consider Snowden head and shoulders way above Bill Clinton. But I like Bill Clinton with the chicks, though. He's pretty smart with that stuff. But I guess he shouldn't have been president. He should have been running something in the porn industry. He'd been better than that, So I don't think Bill Clinton would even mind at that job anyway. So that's basically all he wants to do, right? So anyway, but this is what they elect. They elect this stuff. They elect this freaking Lindsey Graham. This guy's horrible, man. He's probably been elected by these real religious people too, and burn him at the stake. You know what I mean? Holy shit! They'd be thinking, burn this guy Snowden at the stake, and he's trying to protect your rights. Oh man, I don't like extremists of any kind. Believe me.